Me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
I've tried to record this a few times and I keep getting interrupted, but I have quite a few ghost stories because I am indeed a spooky person and I'm drawn to spooky things. So I volunteer for haunted houses. My mom's birthday is October 31st, and just in general, I like to do things like ghost hunting and stuff like that. So, I'll start with a couple from the haunted house that I work at. Hopefully I don't get interrupted this time. I've tried to record this a few times. It was in 2016, I remember, because my son was 2, and I was sweeping through the haunt. There was a sliding door. There's 4 halls, and there's sliding doors in them, so that way we can trick people so they don't know which way they're going. But I was sweeping out the floor so we can get that scene ready. Me and my son go to the main area to eat, and when we come back, the sliding doors that I had previously opened up so I could clean were all shut, and I was like, what the heck, because it's just me and my son there. We go back out because he wanted to keep eating, and then he told me that he's seen a gray man standing in the hallway right in front of us. And I was like, alright, that's enough of that. We're going to sit outside, which we did. We sat outside in the grass until the owner came, and then we all went back inside. And I told him about it, and he was like, oh, you're full of it. Another instance at this same haunted house, haunted attraction, I was preparing a doll scene, and we got a bunch of dolls donated to us from, like, people, and we picked them up at garage sales. So we had all kinds of dolls, baby dolls, porcelain dolls, stuff like that. So I seen these twin porcelain sister dolls, and they both had curly brown hair, bonnets on, pretty white lace dresses, and little white shoes. And I was like, these guys look like the twins from The Shining. Not really, but like, in a sense. Anyways, I hang them up on the wall together because in my head they wanted to be together. I go to get more stuff to hang up more dolls, like screws and stuff like that. And when I come back, but their shoes are off and they're pressed up against the wall. Like, you know when you take your shoes off in your house and you put them up against the wall, you're like, okay, I'll just leave them here. They were put neatly up against the wall, and I was only there with 2 other people working on the haunt at the time. And I went and I confronted them both, and I was like, alright, very funny, you guys, haha, I know you're messing with me. But they both said that they were trying not to kill themselves putting together a wood prop or whatever, and I believed them, and I do believe them. I think that there was something to do with those creepy dolls. The cool thing about this haunted house is that there's cameras throughout the whole thing. So I will say that, and I think it starts about the end of September. There's these orbs, white orbs that float around, and you can see them on the camera. And they're not dust particles, because there's a difference between sweeping and then checking the camera and then just in general orbs floating up and down the halls. Anyways, towards the end of October every year, it starts off like a few, like 1, 2, or 3, and then at the end of the year it's like 50 down each of the cameras. And on Halloween night, this is my favorite part every year, is to watch the outside cameras because the orbs come flying out of the building. Well, it's not a building, it's trailers. They come flying out and they're just like scattered through the sky. So I think that's really creepy as well. And most recently, we were doing a Krampus event over December, and my son, he's 10, he wanted to be Jack Frost. So I was like, okay, we weren't open too late. We were open till 10. He wanted to be with his mom, so I was like, of course. And his job was dressed as a snowman, scary snowman, of course, to throw these like cotton snowballs at the customers as they came through. But when one of the groups came through, he had to run to the bathroom, so he told the main person that he wanted to go, and he left. And the people watching the cameras, they were like, oh, you did such a good job throwing the snowballs at them. And he's like, I wasn't even in there. I had to run to the bathroom. And we asked everybody else that was in that designated area if they went in there to cover for him, and they all said no. So apparently the ghosts were having fun throwing snowballs at the patrons. Another ghost story I have is from when I was working at a haunted house in Arizona. A haunted trailer, this was like a house trailer, was donated by some family, and me and a coworker we're sitting in the windowsill talking to another coworker who was right outside the window, and we're all like laughing, chatting, having a good time. And from behind us, we could hear a noise, and it was like, like, it sounded like somebody was like mimicking us because we're supposed to be zombies. So we turned around and we're like, all right, very funny. Couldn't find anybody at all. And then later on, we got like the full story of that trailer and why it was donated. Apparently, the bedroom that we were in, the man had offed his wife in there. And then he went into the bathroom and he offed himself as well. And that trailer has a lot of scary stories. I think there used to be like a blind girl who worked in there, and she used to say things to the static on the TV. And then there's also this little frog toy that was in there, and it would go off and there's no batteries. Like the cords, the wires to it were split, cut up. So that was pretty weird. Okay, so a ghost hunting story. I went with my friend and her boyfriend, and I wanted to go out to this house in the sticks. It was like in the middle of nowhere. It's an old farmhouse out in the country. And one of the first red flags was like my car was acting weird. My car got filled with mud on the bottom and it was making a loud thud underneath as the mud spun and hit the bottom of my car. So I was like, I didn't like that because I didn't want to get stuck out in the middle of nowhere with my friends and not have anybody to call for help because it's like 2 a.m. But when we pulled up to the front of this old farmhouse, because we were going to park in the back, but that's where my car kept getting like stuck. We pulled up to the front. I got out to use the bathroom, and when I was using the bathroom, I heard this loud dragging noise, like somebody was dragging a piece of furniture upstairs in that house. And my friends in my car had the spirit box going, and they said that all the spirit box was saying, let's leave, go, get out, like repeatedly. And I thought that was weird, so I was like, you know what? It's a sign. We gotta go. So I was like, we're not staying here because I don't know if there's a person in there. All the windows were smashed out, or if it was like a spirit. But that house was abandoned, and it was quite literally in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so this is like a not so scary experience, but I was dreaming. I was in my bedroom, and the sun was peeping through the window, and this is how my dream was. I was laying in my bed and the sun was peeping through my window. I rolled over, looked over at my door, and this woman comes barging through my bedroom door, and she's telling me, get up, you're gonna be late. Sure enough, I woke up, like, quite literally, because I was like, who the heck is this lady in my room? And I roll over, I check my time on my phone, and I see that it's 7 a.m. I was like, oh crap. I had to be at work at 7, so I called my supervisor, told her I was gonna be late. Luckily, it was only half an hour, but I'm pretty sure that lady woke me up. I'm hearing noises. I work night shift by myself. Okay, so I bought a Ouija board from Marshall's for $10, and I kept it in my car. And I noticed that like weird things started happening when I kept it in my car. I would get all these like black flies. Little black flies would just stick to my car as if it was a freaking cow or whatever. And I would get it washed, and the flies would always come back. So I was like, this is weird. But, you know, in Amityville Horror, the bugs and stuff are attracted to that evil. So I bring the Ouija board into my apartment, and I put it under my bed, and I just kind of, like, forget about it for a while. And then eventually, and my ex at the time, he ended up staying over more and more often. I'm laying down in my bed and I'm asleep, and I felt like I got dragged out of my bed. Like, I was at the top of my bed, and then I was at the bottom. So I was like, alright, this guy's messing with me. I went to go check and see where he was, because he wasn't in my room. He was playing video games, and when I went back into my room, I realized that the foot that felt like it had been dragged was right above the Ouija board. And I was like, alright, that's enough of that. I didn't even touch it. I did whatever ritual things that it said on the internet to do to close it, and I put that shit in the basement. So that's a few of them. Variation, short version. I don't go into a huge amount of detail because I don't remember a huge amount of detail, and I'm not going to make something up to spice it up. But, yeah,